special guest, Tamika Whitmore. So welcome everyone to the 41st episode of Sunday Brunch. And we're going to take a look inside of the Tamika Whitmore, who was a beast when she was playing. She is a native of Tupelo, Mississippi, and is one of the greatest players in the history of women's basketball, come out of the University of Memphis, who was actually, I'm watching uh, right now. I think it's pre-taped or like post-taped. Memphis is playing right now. Your guy over there doing big things in the NIT. You're a two-time Conference USA Player of the Year and a three-time All-American. Scored 2,488 points during your career, and you were accredited with 952 rebounds. A beast. Now listen to this. She was named to 5 different All-American teams, hmm? including the Associated Press, the Women's Basketball Journal, the Basketball Writers Association, Kodak, and Women's Basketball News Service during her playing careers in college. She was the top 10 finalist for the Naismith. Come on, mate. Player of the Year in 1999. After you were scoring 26.3 points, led the nation. Let me say that again. Led the nation. 1999. And we only thought Prince had a song. You wrote a song too in 1999. You were drafted by the WNBA's New York Liberty. Okay? And you played 11 professional seasons. Okay? We're going to just have to give you a hand clap on that. For New York. And I didn't know you had played for a couple of different teams, but we encountered each other most of the time when you were in New York because it was just a battle. New York, LA, Indiana, Connecticut. And then internationally, Spain, France, Poland, my girl Margot did it, Russia, and the Czech Republic. Come on, man. Tamika, welcome to the show, where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports. Today we have an all-star cast of ballers, which makes for a great show. Meek, what's up? Tell us what you're doing, where you been, how's everything going with you?
What's up, Goody? I'm in logistics, man. I'm in logistics. I got my own thing going on with that. I'm I also went to school to get a diesel technology associate's degree so I could save money and fix my own trucks. So that's what I do.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, you was always a smart girl. You
Yeah.
know, I remember when we had the meeting and we were all coming into the league and we had a big meeting. And this was actually a couple of days before 911. We
Yep.
had that huge meeting in New York. It was crazy because we thought a couple of girls had gotten on some of those planes that were going back to California.
Remember that?
It was kind of scary. And you were like, this, we can't be on a foundation that's built on quicksand.
Right.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, young Buck got something to say, because at that time you were just coming out of college. And so, at that point, that's when I really started to have a newfound respect for the younger players and what their voices were. And also, becoming an advocate for being a part of, the players committee and helping to create some change in the league. That was very important to me. And so, getting back to you, I mean, you talked about, everything that you're doing. You had a lot of different experience, and this is a lot of our stories. We didn't come right out, and we had to we played, uh, in the WNBA or the American Basketball League. It was like we had to go overseas. You know, talk
Yeah.
about some of your experiences that you had because you played in some great countries. I kid you not, Spain, France, Poland, Russia. I never, got a story from somebody saying that they played in the Czech Republic, but I'm sure it probably had its advantages as well. Talk about some of your experiences for some of the young people that are out there listening.
Well, my early experiences Get it? I mean, my first year overseas, I went overseas for 5,000 a month. I wasn't making no money. I wasn't making no money in the WNBA, and I definitely didn't feel like I was making money overseas.
So,
So, and I actually thought about, maybe I should just go into my field with my degree and just see what happens.
mhm.
But I think my love for this game and how it, in the essence, kind of saved me, just kept me going. So I just figured if I could be consistent with what I'm doing over there, I already knew it was a political monster to fight over here. So I figured if I could just be consistent over there with my numbers and my stats, then everything else will fall into place for me. And it did. I mean, after my first year, like that's when I actually started making real money over there, from Spain to Russia, France, Poland, Czech Republic. I also played in Israel, so I
Yeah,
had a good gambit of experiences as far as having to learn to be open minded with the food. Um, Having to, like, when you go from practicing one time a day to practicing two times a day over there, you're like, what for what? But then you just start to fall in line with the culture. You get to start really just experiencing life and enjoying the city, and just start to have a more of an open mind to how other people live. So that was the main thing I enjoyed about going overseas.
yeah, and that was a great answer because you gave a totally different take than most people say, Like you went over there the first year and you were like, "Hey, wait a minute. Maybe I need to check my career because I'm really not making a whole lot of money." And that's the survival portion of it. Because the first year could be that year where you're like, "Oh, wow, I'm really behind the ball. I'm really behind the eight ball, with this salary thing." And you got people around you that are making good money, but you have to go over there and you really got to prove yourself. You got to go over there. You got to put up numbers. You got to show them that you're going to be dedicated, that you're going to be that player that they can rely on. You're going to carry them. You're going to bring them to a whole nother level. And when you do those things, it's like all of a sudden other money starts coming in. I remember playing in Brazil, and I didn't sign any bonuses. I went down there for $18,000, but it was more money than I was making when I got out of school, and I still got to do what I needed to do. But the one beautiful thing about it was $18,000 with no taxes coming out of it. So it was
Right.
a different level. I was like, oh, okay, I can make this amount of money for 6 months. All right, I can deal with it. I stacked my little chips and everything. Once we started winning championships, they were coming to me with G's in their hand. Oh, here's a bonus for winning. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't part of the plan. Pooh, that wasn't part of the plan. Pooh. Then all of a sudden, you start getting these perks, man. I kid you not. In 1993, I came home with $15,000 in my shoes.
Well, I did some of that too.
And I kid you not, when I got to Merrill Lynch and I took the money out of my shoes, the lady was looking at me like, I said, listen, don't worry about the whole look, okay? I just came back from overseas and I wasn't there. Customs, you understand? Yeet,
Yeah,
the
get bad.
things we have to do, right?
Yeah, customs didn't get bad till 9/11, but like you still have to learn the tax laws and all that. Like, you have to have. I was just fortunate enough to be with the Liberty, but Spoon immediately like took me under her wing. I remember my first time in New York. We had went to a local high school to actually have like pick up shoot around, you know just so we could just get a feel for each other. And Spoon walked in the gym, and I'm sitting there stretching. I'm not saying anything to anybody. So I'm like stretching, and she walks through the gym, and I'm like, dang, like that's Teresa Weatherspoon. Like I'm really here. Like it put everything into perspective for me. And we started playing, and she picked me on her team, and we were running kind of like a horn set. And I looked at her and she looked at me. Never said nothing, never played together. And I spent off a Kim Hampton. And she threw the lob up to the rim and I went and got it. And I was like, that's two. And then Spoon was like, oh my God, Redbone can play. Redbone can play. So first experience in New York. So
Red
she
bone play.
immediately. And she started teaching me that stuff, like, you know, what to do with your money, what to look for in contracts and stuff like that. So I had a great group of vets that like really helped me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about it. When you hit the nail on the head and not that just prompts us into a different conversation about the importance of having vets around for those very reasons, that you can tap into things that you would never even think of as a rookie. And they can tell you, hey, listen, save that per diem. That per diem,
Yeah.
save that. Put that, listen, just little things that, really, really carried weight. And I didn't mind having the youngins around me. And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl over here, Tamika Whitmore. We chopping it up. Former WNBA player, just a superstar on that level. Came into the league out of Memphis, and where you blew it up over there. She just had an excellent career, college level, uh, the pro level, and we had to tap into what it is that you're doing now, and that's a great story that you're sharing with us. About Spoon and how she took you under your wings, because that was one question I wanted to ask you. I mean, you got drafted by New York, and you know, walk us through that day, because you said, "Oh my God, I'm here." So you got drafted, okay, and it still hadn't hit you, but it hit you when you was in the gym and you saw a teaspoon walk through and you said, "Oh my God, I'm here." Because you in 1999, that was host club.
Right. That was that was Shamika Ho's class. That was the season, the year she got drafted. We came out the same year, but also that year was the when the ABL folded.
Yes, there was a lot going on.
So they only college kids that year. Everybody else was from the ABL and had prior experience, but they only took 10 of us out the country in that draft.
Yeah,
Only,
and see, that group was special. So it was you, Hoes Claw. Who else was in that group? You remember?
I think Michelle Van Gorp, she was on the Liberty team. Dominique Canty, she was with Detroit. I think she went to Detroit. Um, uh, and all those other names, I'm not quite sure because
Yeah,
out of those 10, it was only a few of us that lasted that long.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's just a testimony to how hard you worked.
Oh yeah,
Because it's hard work is gonna get you there, man. But you gotta go hard once you get into the league. You can't get comfortable. There's always constantly somebody out there, practicing to be better than you. And my uncle always said that to me. He's like, "Bam, always somebody somewhere in the world practicing to be better than you. So
yeah,
always gotta go hard, and it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing in life. It doesn't have to necessarily be basketball. You're always going to be competing with somebody for something.
right,
Just always try to be a better you. And as
yeah,
long as you're chasing after being a better you, you're gonna find out how many great places you're gonna fall. And he wasn't right. Um, you played for LA,
mhm,
you played for Indiana,
mhm.
played for Connecticut. Talk about some of those teams and some of those greats that you played with when you played for those teams. Who you teamed up with at that time?
Well, I just figured, I became a restricted free agent after New York, and I had went to I didn't even think I didn't know if I was gonna get picked up or not, to be honest with you. But I was fine with that because I had made a name for myself overseas. So
Yeah,
I got a call late from LA, and they wanted me to come be a part of what they had. And I think the year before they had just won the championship, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, yeah, that's gravy. Like, I'm finna, Lisa was considered one of the best. So I'm thinking, okay, I can go here and learn, you know? So I went in there with that mindset, and I don't know if it looked good on paper, but the chemistry just wasn't there, and it just got lost somewhere. But I did enjoy my time there as far as able to learn, because I actually got to spend time. I went through several coaching changes there within a 2-year period. We started off with Michael Cooper, then I think Carlene did the interim coach there, and then after her they brought in Henry Bibby, Mike Bibby's dad,
Yep.
and his tenure was short there. And then after that we had Jelly Bean, Kobe's dad. So, and then I think that year too was one of the Olympic hiatuses. So I actually stayed in LA, and I actually got to work out with Kobe a few times. So that was a great experience in itself for me with him, just being able to train with him. And to be honest with you, I wasn't a Kobe Bryant fan. I grew up in the era of Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was end all be all for me, you know. So, but I really realized that kid worked so hard, and whatever he gets, he's gonna actually deserve it. So I developed a whole new respect for that for him as a man. So that was one of the best experience I ever had as far as training and learning different things of the game and how to train for my position and for my sport.
So I mean, how many people can sit and say, I mean, I have an elevator story with Kobe. I have a read to achieve story. But how many people can say, oh, I trained with Kobe and I got to watch his moves and I really got to see the Mamba mentality.
Hmm.
You're one in a few people, and I never knew how much I was going to cherish the read to achieve moment that we had together, as much as I do now, because he's no longer with us. Um, but that's a great story just to say, hey, listen, I got to get some of that Mamba juice and, work out. And, that's a fantastic story. And to get the opportunity to create these types of memories, I have memories that will last a lifetime, and go into the heavens with me, as far as basketball is concerned. And that's the reason why I tell parents to get your kids involved with sports because it builds character. It creates memories. It helps you with your social skills. It helps you with your skills as far as learning how to work and be around a diverse group of people. It teaches you how to be a better woman. It teaches you how to be a better man, a better parent, a better person, a better friend, a better sister, brother. It's just so many things that come out of playing sports, that will help develop your child when you can't,
Yeah, it
you know.
teaches you to appreciate the role that people play in your life, but because it teaches you how to appreciate the roles that people play on your team. So I just think it also teaches. Well, with that being said, I think you also get out of that to never take anything for granted. Life's too short for that, you know?
Yeah, I'm reading some of the comments on here. People are watching. Got Elisa Scott over there. Oh, Houston Comets.
Oh yeah,
She's over there talking. She's saying baller beast mode up in here this morning.
yeah,
Ebony Hood out there, legends, truly enjoyable conversations, and she also threw up there. I love this game, and I'll say shout out to Scott Molesky and Dante Borders. I got some people that come up here that are on a regular that come in here, and I thought I saw Susan in there somewhere, but we got some people out there watching, throwing up some comments and stuff like that. I had actually Scotty up there, she throwing up what it do, what it do. So say something back to her so she don't flood the comments. So
What's up? What's up, man? I be missing action. I knew. I do. I know. I just, but you know, Goody, I always just kind of just went with the flow, man. I stayed out of mess and didn't listen to mess. It was always business for me.
yeah, absolutely. You're not lying about that. You were very quiet in the back, very mature for your age, but when you needed to, when you needed to stand up for something, yourself or something, you were always there, especially, you were always there in the cut,
Mm.
especially being, a voice for the younger players at that particular time. When I was around you, I was 32, not trying to rhyme, but, and you were just coming into the league. So, you had a powerful voice. Ebony says, I remember Meek when she was with New York City playing with Teaspoon, Kim Hampton, Vicki Johnson, Crystal Robinson, Rebecca Lobo, Becky Hammond, and Tara and Tari. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so you gotta love a lot of, you got people out there that like have their set memories. I think that New York is embedded in a lot of people's heads because New York got the TV time too,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, and
major.
so you were constantly on it. So like you got more TV time, so people got the opportunity to see you more, when you were in that Liberty uniform. But you made noise when you were in LA, Indiana, and also in Connecticut, where you finished up, in your latter stages, you were still putting up 18 and
Mm-hmm.
giving them the business over there at that point in time. You knew and understood the game and how to get to point A quicker than the next person. As you grow in the game, you understand how you could actually, beat somebody who's truly younger than you to the ball with ease because you know the quickest way to the ball. And so, and that's
Goody.
just something to learn over time.
Understand, like, and this is an attribute for you, but you know, when we would do the scouting reports or whatever for Utah, and like I look at your stat line, and I'd be like, okay, she's not shooting the ball a whole lot, but you got to that free throw line. Oh my god! And like I be trying to tell kids now, like, look, you make 5 shots, that's 10 points. But think about if you get to the free throw line 6 times, you get there 6 times, and you getting 2 free throws every time. That's another 12 points. So now you got 22 points, and you only shot the ball 5 times.
Hmm.
Like I was like, man, she feeding at the free throw line. But then I started thinking about that, and then I started like, well, I can add that to my game too.
Yeah, absolutely. And
My mom was 6'7" because it taught me how to play against bigger people. So attribute right there, like open my eyes to see the game in a different way.
yeah, absolutely. You were, and we were talking about this, off the cuff, that you were one of those undersized post players that was giving the business, giving people the business. You were giving people the business. Tato was giving people the business. It was like, yo, you Leslie, yeah, Leslie was giving people the business, and I'm like, wow, uh, to be size, that's crazy. You know, what aspects of your game did you work on being undersized, knowing that you're going to be down there in the post with Lisa Leslie, Tina Thompson, who clearly had Tari Phillips, if you have to guard her in practice, who clearly had 3 and 4 and 5 inches on you? What was your secret?
Um, I pay attention to the defense. If I step out to get the ball and I do a reverse pivot to face up, if your hands are down, I can shoot. I can shoot about as good as a two guard. I also know if I'm undersized, 9 times out of 10, my first step is quicker than yours. So if you're coming out to guard me, I'm finna go around you. But the best thing I like to do, and I don't even think people realize, I love to pass.
Hmm.
I like to feel like I'm a point guard sometimes. So I just took what the defense gave me. I never tried to force the action. Like I'm just gonna take what you give me. And I just think, like growing up too, with my mom teaching me how to play and playing against guys, like I mean, I went down to the street courts, goody. I was playing against the winos and crackheads back home. So you got faster, you got to get stronger, because you don't want none of that touching you. So you got to figure out how to score the ball, and all that helped. Like it all helped.
Yo, yo, big up to the winos and the crackheads. We gotta love them. We gotta shout them out.
Yes, I mean we played up. We got better.
Yo,
Kids,
listen. Yo, let me tell you something. The block had my game right. By the time I got to college, it was over for people because I already had that killer in me from growing up in these streets right here. And so, and then always going around. I didn't just stay where I was. Once I got into high school, people really rarely saw me in the summertime because I was playing AAU. I'm in New Mexico. I'm in Albuquerque. I'm down in Florida. I'm in DC, Florida, going and doing those things, not to mention when I'm at home, that I'm getting with my girls from St. Anne's. Shout out to Diane Rodriguez and Margaret Grierson and all of them. We get in the car and we would go, to Paramus, over Paramus Catholic, where Ann Donovan grew up. We go over there and we pick on them girls over there or guys. We didn't really care. We go to Jersey City, pick on people there. We would go to Neptune. We were going all over the place just to go play games and stuff like that. And all of that stuff, when you dare to go into somebody else's backyard and steal their lunch, you know what I'm saying? Or take what they eating off the grill, at that young age, man. So I had that. So I know what you're talking about. So I'm saying shout out to all of the Pookies and the Jiggies
all
and the Pankies and and Bo and Michael and Clayton and Todd and all of them who was, helping me just get my game right, in the backyard.
right. That's really like how it went down. Like that's how it went down. But I think I knew I had something special when I was in high school getting ready to go to college, and Terry Catlett showed up in Tupelo, Mississippi, believe it or not. Shout out to Terry Catlett. And we was playing at the Salvation Army. And when I tell you I did him, Goody, I did him. I did him so bad. It's like he got the ball, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm under the goal. I'm finna take this charge. That man hit me so hard, I flew into the padding on the wall like a cartoon. And I said, "You hurt me, but that's all right, cause I got you." I said, "Who got next down?"
Okay. Exactly.
They
Uh,
said, "Always have."
Yeah, and the thing about playing with the guys is once you beat them a whole lot, then they'll start resorting to like trying to really physically like try to give you the business. I took that on the block on 20th Street a lot. Got some little pop shots from a couple of people. Shout out to Flip Taylor, used to do that a lot. Hit me in the stomach and knock the air out of me, checking me to see how tough I really am. I carried that with me. Those things, they got me to the next level because when somebody would hit me with a pop shot, you know, um, and try to give you a little oomph after, or before, after they make a move or whatever, it wouldn't hurt me. Like I would just look at them like, please, you're gonna have to go back 20 years to get me on that one, boy. You got to go back 15 years to get me on that one. But the block, it toughens you up, and you know, let's swing it to some basketball that's going on right now. Um, there's a lot of growth in the WNBA over the past 25 years. What do you see? What do you see the future? What do you see the future like? Like, you happy with it? I know of course there's always some areas that we could grow in, but talk about it from your eyes right now.
Well, I feel like right now, I feel like they are getting opportunities that we didn't even have an option of receiving. I'm sorry, my dog whining in the back. She'll be all right. But no, we just didn't get those options the way our collective bargaining agreement was structured, and just to see those girls try to, fight for what's fair. So that's a huge thing for me to watch that. As far as the talent, these kids, hey, these kids can play. They can really play. I think some of the differences with us versus them is that we we knew how to take what the defense gave us more. Like we knew we just knew how to read things a little bit better. And as far as like what I'm seeing now, like coming up through college and high school, for whatever reason, I feel like we had a higher percentage with shooting than the kids do now. But I just like once again, I think that just comes from playing on the block and with those guys, and because you have to get better in order to beat them. So but as far as the WNBA, I think it's doing great things. I'd like to see it expand more as far as with more teams, because if I'm not mistaken, when I came into the league, there were, I want to say, 16 teams give or so, and I think now it's more like 12. So I just feel like that I would love to see it start to expand more as far as more teams around the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that the more popularity it gains, then the more people will want to invest their money in the product. And so, with that being said, you have LeBron out there who did a fantastic thing with the Atlanta Dream. And so I know that there were some other players that wanted to follow suit, and he took the lead in that. Kyrie gave a million or 1.5 million to the salaries for the girls who opted out of the season this year. So that was also a big move. I know that Baron Davis has expressed some interest. Carmelo Anthony expressed some interest. So hopefully these boys will come on together. And they're for people who have the power and the financial backing to make something like this happen. And so, we just sit here and speak that into existence maybe. But we have actually the black dollar circulating more. It'll be good for the economy to get the black dollar circulating. So who are some of the players that you like?
Well, I always like the ones that I played against with Tarasi and Sue. Um, but and if I'm not mistaken, um, Dupree still in the league with Indiana, correct? Candace Dupree. She was
Hmm.
all moved to me. But like some of the new kids, I hate that Maya Moore decided not to continue because she was a phenomenal asset to the league. Um, I really like the Stewart kid in Seattle. With her size and for her to be able to do what she's able to do, it is totally awesome to watch. Um, I like the kid from Southern Miss that was in Chicago. I like her game. She sometimes I like the quickness in which she does things, and like her basketball IQ is also awesome. So just to watch them pick it up and just keep going with the sport. The two sisters in LA, um, they're picking up the slack a lot and just really just changing how the game is played, especially with these post players. I'm like, okay, these post players got guard skills. We about to change the way women's basketball is actually played a little bit. And then I was just watching the UConn play Iowa, and their post player, like they had a post player that took the ball, took the rebound, put it on the floor, saw the guard running up, saw Williams running up, and just threw a perfect lob pass to her. I was like, that's something that really hasn't been seen in women's basketball on professional levels before. So these kids coming into it are going to be, the game is going to change tremendously. Watching these young kids play this year and this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm enjoying, I'm enjoying watching it. I'm enjoying watching the games. Actually, I need to grab that remote because the game started at 1 o'clock. I definitely can't miss my D Staley, number one point
Oh,
guard ever. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Dawn Staley, best point guard ever. That is
yeah,
my story. I'm sticking to it. Say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is with me. I already know. If you
man,
ain't coming, Pistol
that's
Pete, you
that's
ain't
the
coming.
that's the craftiest player I ever played against. Period. Between her and Cynthia Cooper, telling you, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Eurostep. I'm gonna give Coop the Eurostep.
Oh yeah, she
Coop,
brought.
Coop brought that to the United States. I'm gonna credit her with that. Cause she
I
was killing it, and people
ran
couldn't even understand. They just did
about,
not understand. Hmm?
I ran into Coop about a month ago
Did
down in
you?
Mississippi. We actually got snowed in down there at the same hotel with her team, and ran into her, and we had great conversations and was reminiscing. And I told Coop, I said, man, you would slow ball us to death. Wasn't particularly fast, but you were crafty, like you were deceptive in what you could do, and it's like you could just turn on the light switch. All right, here it is, and then just turn it off. Like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all get some.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
talking about that, you mentioned something that just I have to bring it up because it's a hot topic. So what do you think about lowering the rim so that we can dunk?
I don't think it's necessary, to be honest. Quiet as kept, Goody. I mean, I could dunk in college, and I'm undersized. It's not about lowering the rim. I mean, I think fundamentally, as far as the basic fundamentals, we're better than the guys with that. We're better shooters. We're better finishers because we have to finish through arms, hands, and everything, and still finish. We don't have that athleticism that we can just out jump everybody. So we have to be more fundamentally sound, and I just think lowering the rims will make it more of a gimmick than anything. Why not just keep it like it is? I think the game is growing the exact same. Um, I just think it has nothing to do with lowering the rims to bring people in to watch and make it more exciting. I just think it just has to be marketed in a different way.
Yeah, that's the thing. That would be the marketing ploy right there. The marketing ploy is going to be to lower the rims so that the women can pound for pound because not everybody can. So more women can dunk it, and it'll glorify the game a little more. What if it was a marketing tactic that they use so that it would create growth and bring in more dollars? What if it was done for those purposes? Would that change your mind?
I don't think it would. I just because there's no guarantee that it would, that marketing ploy would work. There's no guarantee that it will work. And lowering the rims and dunking is something you have to learn to do, just like shooting. It's not
Mhm.
easy to dunk. You have to get timing. You have to really work on dunk. Like if you're gonna dunk over somebody, like all those things. I just think it's if it was a guaranteed way to bring money into the women's side and let people prosper off of that? Maybe, but due to the fact that it's not guaranteed that that's what it is, why change the game of basketball?
Really? I just want to get your opinion on it, see what
Yeah,
you thought about it. Um, how can people stay in touch with you? How did it, are you on social media? You're not on anything? Nobody gets in touch with Tamika? Oh, no, you on Facebook. I mean, we talk on Facebook.
yeah, I got a Facebook page. I don't really post stuff and things like that, but I got a Facebook page. I don't do Instagram. I don't do Snapchat, all that stuff. But like I told Coop, I look into getting me an Instagram. But it's just something, I just always felt like I've always been the type to I never asked for the spotlight or wanted the spotlight. So whatever I did, like I always try to keep my private life private and my business life, whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So I just never got into the social media buzz.
Okay, there's still some people out there that are like that. You're a part of an elite group of people. I have to say that because, to sit here and be sitting across from somebody who doesn't have an Instagram page, that's
Yeah.
really rare. So pat yourself on the back because it's definitely infectious and I do think that people do put too much information out there
Hmm.
on on their social media pages, but it is what it is. You can't tell people how to govern their pages. I just want them to, govern their pages with respect and, be mindful that there are kids out here, and even though kids, they're gonna go behind your back and they're gonna go into different rooms that you don't want them to go in and everything like that. I don't want them coming on my page to see that. You could
Right.
go to somebody else's page to see that. So I try to ask my friends to be respectful of the fact that there are kids that are out here. They do see the page, and just be respectful. A lot of people forget that they're raising kids, and that your kids are gonna see that, or somebody that knows you is gonna see that and go, dang, don't they have kids? Like we just have to be mindful of what we're doing during this day and age. Our kids are watching everything, they're absorbing everything, and some outcomes are good and some are bad. So with that being said, sis, I really um, appreciate you coming on the show. And I didn't mean for you to put the dog in the room. So cute. She's just having it's a girl.
Yes, it's a girl.
She's having a fit back there. What is it? It was a rot.
She's a Dalmatian mixed with a pit.
Wow, so cute. She's just all over you, and she can't understand why you put her in that room. Um,
No.
all she knows is that she heard my voice. Now I don't want her to associate my voice with getting locked in the room. So you might have to get up and go and let her out the room
I
so she
I
can know that it's okay.
I
You know,
I,
but
I can do that. But no, she's something else. I tell you. She's a good hearted dog. All she wants to do is play. That's it. That's
yeah,
it. That's,
unconditional love that you don't get from anybody else.
she
Um,
normally going to like the park and stuff right now. So that's probably what some part of the problem is. I told her she gonna have to wait. We're gonna postpone it today.
yeah, yeah. I got one of my friends on here, Patricia. She's saying, kudos to you for not putting a lot of information on social media. She doesn't do it either. Shout out to my girl Rhonda Singleton and Margaret Garrison out there watching, um, who also was a standout from St. Anthony's. Uh, and she was also an undersized post player. Margaret could play every position. She was just that utility player. You could, if you needed her to bring the ball up, she had you. If you needed to come off the screen, and she'll come off the screen and hit a three. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If she needed to guard you know, somebody who was on the team that was at the 3 spot that was tough, you know, there she was. She could even post up, like, you know, and play those post players. So she was one of those utility players. That was my P. That was my girl, man. She had the Ford Mustang. I got that story, but I would never tell. Bottom line is, shout out to all my people that are out there. To this day, my mother still does not believe the Mustang story, Margaret. Here we are, grown ass women. My mom still doesn't believe the Ford Mustang story. So, and kudos to her. I see you putting up the heart on that one. That's too funny. That's a great story. We're going to get together and have a beer on that one. My girl, Margaret. So we're going to say shout out to everybody. I want to thank everybody who came onto the show, who, uh, who came on, and you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind Sunday brunch. I got my girl Tamika Whitmore came on here to chop it up with me on Sunday. We're getting ready to both get off of here. We're getting ready to both marinate in this television and watch some of this NCAA basketball we got going on. Who you got? Who you got for the
Me?
girls and on the guys' side?
Well, on the girl side, I just think I'm rooting for Dawn. My heart is rooting for Dawn, but I'm gonna tell everybody coming for him.
It's
Everybody,
okay.
and that's okay. But one thing about Dawn, I'm gonna tell you this: she know how to win. She know how to win.
Yeah.
And on the guy side, even though my Tigers only did the NIT, the guy side has been full of upsets, man. I mean, full. I don't even know which way to go on that, Goody. Because with
Yeah,
this,
there's so many just bracket busters out there, and it's absolutely incredible. And I just feel it's hard to say on the men's side, but I'm say, listen, you know, we still got Sister Jean out there, and as long as we have a song and a prayer,
yeah,
Chicago may win that thing.
they might. They might. But I want to give a shout out, if I can, to Destiny Wells. She was the freshman point guard for Belmont.
Woo!
I have been working on and off with that kid since she was in 6th grade. And
Wow.
I knew she was the truth then.
Wow, that's what's up. I'm glad that, you know, you got to touch her in some kind of way and give her that dream. You know, a lot of times when these kids are around us, you open up their world to dream about the possibility of playing in the WNBA. And sometimes that's all they need. And then they
Mm.
need some people, you know, people around them that'll light the fire in them and help them, you know, move along. And, you know, I mean, that's what I would say to all of these coaches out here while I got this stage right now. Um, I'm just dealing with some things right now that are just really unpleasant. Um, uh, and I'm not going to mention anything else about it, but
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this. For these coaches out here, you need to understand that when you take a kid under your wing, you know, you taking that kid under your wing, not for your own success. Get some people that'll jump on some kid's bandwagon because they think that that kid is going to go somewhere, and that kid may rightfully go somewhere. And then they'll attach to these coaches that got the pretty bands and got them doing all of this other stuff, and but it has nothing to do with getting you to where you want to be as a player. Okay, not only is it important to make sure that you know you put a good wet work ethic in this kid and not allow them to just go around and work with other people, but also you got to be an extension of their mother, you got to be an extension of their father, maybe their grandparents, maybe their sister, their brother, this, that, and the third. You can't just bring a child into your life and then drop them off because you left that job. You can't do that. You know, it's important that you get a strong hold on this kid and help them become the best that they could possibly be. It is what it is. So with that being said, I just wanted to put it out there. If you're a coach, man, don't just have this kid come into your life because of what they can bring to you, but it's about what you can do for them in the world. and helping them to get where they are. Because the loudest sound that a kid will ever hear is when the clapping stops and they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have a school to go to. Where are you then? That's when you need to be in a kid's life, when they meet that door that they can't get through. You got to be a bridge to bring them through. You need a tugboat to bring you through, man. Bottom line is this. If you're coaching, it is not a 9 to 5. It's 24 hours every day for the rest of your life, because that kid is going to call you advice for the rest of their lives. That's what you want to be for them.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm talking about this, especially in my area where I'm at right now, I do not like to see one of my kids hurt. And to all my kids that are out there, I love you. And if you need me, you call me. I don't care what time of the day, what time of the night it is, how big or how small you may think it is. Call me. You're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl Tamika on here. Whitmore played for, we mainly remember her for the New York Liberty, all right? But she also played for Indiana. She also played for LA. And she also played for Connecticut to finish up her career. But she was still playing overseas. I think you finished up in Israel, if I'm not mistaken. I want to thank you again for coming on the show, chopping it up with me during these times. I hope you're being safe. I hope you continue with your workout. You said you started on a new training regimen. I give you all the blessings in that. I told you, you never know when I might pick up the phone and say, yo, I need you to do this camp.
And I got you.
I know you do. I love you, sis. Thank you for coming on the show. Peace out.
Right.
All my people, Sammy Sosa out there. One love. Stay peace, baby.
Good to
Love
talk
you.
to you. Love you.